Order of the Dragon just have so many issues attached to the idea of later ages, right? It's not just the fact that as you age deeper in the game, your units are counted more cleanly and clearly. It's the fact that as the game goes on, you approach that infamous pop cap that disadvantages you so much on this Civ. Add in the fact that all of a sudden you can't play wide flanks, you can't go deep. Surely we're looking at a game that has to end quickly. Because we're talking about a matchup between the Abbasids and Order of the Dragon here. And the Dragon is going to be manned by Corvinus. Corvinus, who I think is like 35, 40 games deep in a row now of Order of the Dragon. He's trying to solve it, right? He's a scientist at work in his crazy little laboratory. On the other side, GUA, tried and true with the Abbasids. Something that has been making a research and competitive, actually, because this Civ fell off the side of a cliff. But in recent weeks, ever since the slight little tweaks with fresh foodstuffs being moved around, we've seen a reboom, actually. And I think that, you know, it was nice to see. I don't think it was 100% needed. Abbasids weren't performing well, but that was, in my opinion, more due to the fact that when you look at the tournaments, when you think about when the Abbasids weren't really being seen or performing, it was at a stage in the tournament where you could pretty much just kind of win a series without needing Abbasids to come out if you drafted well, right? You get Ayyubids, you get Byzantines, you get your hands on the Chinese, and you were off to the races. Now, with these deeper series coming out at the later phase of EGC, just after the patch came through, and now when we're looking at best of 5, best of 7 show matches, you start to thread the needle a bit better. Add in the fact that at the time, people were looking for golden solutions to Ottomans, and Abbasids were always a decent one for that with the 2TC build, and it makes sense why this Civ has seen a resurgence. Now, Dragon on the other side are waiting for the surgeons. There's no re here. Actually, there's a lot of re. There's the re of a million Dragon players that just can't seem to get their wins easy peasy outside of feudal rushes. Which is why I'm expecting this game to be focused around mind work and pressure from good old Corvinus. It's definitely going to need some opening units, because as anticipated, GUA is going to go for the military wing. Military wing is just hands down the best choice, actually. I always say it's about 60% of games you'll see Millie Wing in. I feel like the number's even higher now. Trade Wing has fallen down in desirability. Eco Wing has risen up a little bit to take some of that percentage. But I still think if you're going for Eco Wing, you're essentially forfeiting the entire map to your opponent. And that's something you can't really afford to do against Order of the Dragon. It's not a case of by getting this military wing, you'll be able to fight the initial units of the Order of the Dragon. That's not what GUA is aiming for here. But he gets two things out of this military wing play. One is you block any sort of interception on your second TC. Very important with a sword spawning stone like this. And two, whenever you're building like this as the Abbasids, the reaction that has to come out of your opponent is to go into an archery range, right? Because you have to counter both units. How do you counter both units? Well, the spears get countered by archers, and if you have more archers, you counter the archers. That's rough for OOTD, though, because it means you are being forced into a predictable comp. And the thing that sucks about Order of the Dragon compared to other civs in the early game, if they get the comp right, if they aren't countered, they look broken, right? How many times have you guys experienced... I had someone here the other day asking, how do I beat Gilded Men-at-Arms as, I think it was Byzantines in that situation? I gave him an explanation of it. He's like, yeah, I seem to be struggling with this. It's like, a lot of people are struggling with this, because if you get the read wrong at the beginning, it snowballs hard. However, it's a double-edged sword. If you read it correctly and get the correct move ahead of time, if you force that action, like what Geo is going to do here, you can actually have Order of the Dragon by the long and curlies. Check out complete. Military wing units now on the way. And we've got a lot of wood being gathered up, so it looks like Corvinus might be trying to go for those archers as expected. Wait, no. Is he going for second TC? Oh, that's crafty. You can't see it, but I've actually got a smile on my face. It's dangerous against the military wing. I still feel like you're going to have to be very defensive with this TC if that's the case. Instead, is he going for greed? That's wild. He is. Guys, he's going out onto the deer. Now, this is intriguing, actually, because think about the build speed of this. 10 villagers building this up are insanely fast. They have a base increase of 20% compared to other villagers in the build. Last of the wood now being dropped off. Needs to start this now. He actually started with a mill by accident. But look at this, GUA. He scoured the area. He just saw the deer move around, and he now knows he's going to move in. And all of a sudden, Corvinus has to cancel it. I can't believe that. Had that been a build straight away, he could maybe have afforded 2 villagers going down to get the TC up. Instead, he has to forfeit the ground, come all the way home, and then run to the other side of the map. Are you kidding me right now? Think about that walk time. He hasn't got wheelbarrow either, so this is painful because on the other side, this GUA is now on the stone with a lot of villages. The question mark, though, is going to be, can GUA get across quick enough to delay this further? Because that would be huge. The reality is, yes, it's a very loose TC for Corvinus, but he's getting an insane amount of value out here. He's got the boar, the deer, and a gold vein in this area. So he's quite happy to park in this area. And on top of that, another interesting detail, guys, when this eventually turns into Castle Age, it's got 2 relics really close to this town center location. So very easy to walk out, build an outpost, and have a prelate drop off there later. Camel Arch come from GUA. Wait, what? Okay, now I'm confused. I thought he just couldn't contest the south side because, hey, you know, Archer's spear's too slow. GUA doesn't seem to be aware of what's happened here. This is awkward, right? Because I think from his POV, there could be a TC here. And that's what he's anticipating because he's already blocked out with his Camel Archer move. He can't dive in, however, and he's already blocking the north side. Bad news for GUA, though, is this TC has gone up. It is incredibly loose, but now what worries me is it's so insanely loose that Give You Anxiety might never look for it. Oh, that's bad as well. I mean, in this situation, you're going for a condensed TC by comparison, right? So you're going to get very inefficient when you're walking out to these deer stacks, these berry stacks. Meanwhile, although Corvinus had a lot of inefficiency getting this town center up, after the fact, he's going to remain very tight towards it, which is great because it means all the new villages are immediately going to be working instead of walking around not doing anything. GUA, looks like he does now know about it. Problem is, one Camel Arch is not going to do anything here. If he'd spotted this sooner, he could have walked over and tried to build a ram to apply some pressure on the TC. It's difficult, though. Probably not worth it. You have to remember that this is a Civ that has E-repairs. So unless you want to commit 2 to 3 rams, you're just not going to break it. And on top of that, because you haven't added new units in, you're not going to have a backbone to contest the villages that are torching it. Second TC now coming up, but not a great sign that your opponent is about to mirror the count on villages. Typically, the way you play this build now is the Abbasids is to go Castle Age as quickly as possible. I think this still holds true even in the Dragon matchup. The logic being is that, you know, the deeper the game goes, the better it gets for you. Abbasids is one of the highest peaking civs when it comes to late game. Order of the Dragon, as we mentioned earlier, is one of the lowest. In fact, most of the time, Order of the Dragon players can only really play into the late game if they have 2/3 to 3/4 of the gold of the map. Because otherwise, the idea of scaling men-at-arms and hand cannoneers is a bit too pricey. And if you're not scaling men-at-arms and hand cannoneers, you simply don't have the efficiency of your army. Because the issue that we usually run into in that late game, we alluded to at the start of this game, the reason why the Dragons suck is they struggle more so than any other Civ to play a wide map. Like, it's brutal how hard it is, in fact. GUA. Likely we're going to be looking at Culture Wing here. Eco Wing seems like a tasty proposition, but what you have to realize is in this game, GUA hasn't really got many techs. He hasn't even got the level 1 mining tech. He did at least get Wheelbarrow, but he hasn't got Boot Camp. So actually, the idea of going for Culture Wing in Depok has a lot of value. And the cool thing is then down the line when you go Imperial Age, you just go with the Eco Wing, you get 20% off. And depending on how quickly you want to skip past Castle, you should have enough resource on the map that you don't have to rush a farm transition before Imp. And yeah, there you go, Culture Wing. It also just gives you more flexibility to be the aggressor at the beginning of Castle. Pregnus on the other side. And looks like we are going to be getting the stable archery range and tracks. One of everything out of Corvinus. Remember what we said about the weakness of Order of the Dragon being the transition? Is that if you get the unit comp wrong, you're screwed. How do you solve for that problem? All of them. Just build all of them. Relics are going to be guarded in the meantime with GUA. I'd love to see him just pull a villager and wall off these nearby relics. I think it's doable on 2 TC. Sure, your opponent has 2 TC as well, so it kind of puts you behind. But considering the fact that he's adding in stables and archery range as well, Corvinus is not going to be very torch efficient. So if he runs into walls, it's like his kryptonite here. Now, all of a sudden, you've got this big Giga Chad Gilded Knight that apparently the one true thing that can kill him is walls. Let's take out complete. Nice opening. Spearman also being prepped. And is indeed going to be the Gilded Crossbowman. Yeah, Spearman's quite an interesting detail here. I guess they're possibly worried about... What? No, it can't be the Camel Archer spam. I guess he just wants a cheap front line, right? This way you can have the Knights to raid, and then you have the Spearman to front line for the crossbows. Otherwise, you're going to men-at-arms, which is slower anyway. They can kind of more easily be countered. Abbasid players have to be smiling when they see this comp, though, right? Like, because if I'm looking at some GUA, I'm on cloud 9 because I can just go composite bows and it's a win. I think what's happened here, though, is Corvinus has said, okay, because neither of us really built a feudal army, you wouldn't expect composite bows, right? You wouldn't see value in that straight away. So he's trying to catch him off guard with that detail. Warlord coming through, and GUA playing with fire there. Just about stops the Prelate from getting it off. However, now with the Spearman arriving, the Gilded Knight as well, this is where there's going to be some map forfeiture. These Gilded Knights are so insane as well. You need so many spears to bring them down. The Camel's a pretty cool detail, though. I really love the Camel Archer still being here. Because remember, Gilded Knights have insanely high base damage. There's something that's being discovered right now about Order of the Dragon. And if you're wondering why it take this long, it's because no one wants to play Order of the Dragon. And it's that percentile decreases are their true counter. So Japan is a perfect example of this. The Temple of Equality has one civ where it makes sense to build right now, and it's against Order of the Dragon. And similarly, with things like the Camelanese, you get insane value against these Gilded Knights openings. Because all of a sudden, that power of 2 knights in one becomes your downfall. Because what you've essentially done is you've condensed it all into one unit and just made it get counted even harder. And what really pains you in that situation is Gilded Knights already struggle when they run into spears. Because there's less entities, it's much easier for the spearmen to overwhelm. Because what will happen is with these 5 spears, one of them will get stunned in return to stun one of the knights. But then 4 of them will be attacking that entire time. It's an insane power play for the Abbasids. Power play for the Dragon, though, is already on its way home. Relics are being picked up. Funnily enough, realizing that these aren't safe, Corvinus went for the more dangerous relics first. So 2 already on the way home. And he still has these other 2 that are realistically very grabbable. In fact, I don't really know how GUA defends them. Because this one's already failing. The one near the TC is too wide. This is going to be a 4-relic game for the Order of the Dragon. Phalanx now being prepped. GUA massing into the crossbows. Now, one thing that worries me when I see this is actually if I'm a Dragon player in this situation, mangonels make way too much sense. Your army is not very fast, and you're pushing me back into my base, which means I have choke point advantage. I'm hoping that GUA does something kind of spicy behind this, like a third TC. I think a third TC is subtle, but quite genius. Just because now your opponent has the relics, now he's going to kind of condense himself in his base. You've now got an infinitely harder job of fighting into that. Mid-map is easy peasy. But in a base where H3 have E-repairs, where H3 have choke points, that's where it's going to be your undoing. So yeah, a little bit surprising that we're seeing Rams coming out instead. Then again, is it really that surprising when you're watching GUA? Is there anyone in the game that likes Rams more than this guy? I don't think there is. That's that relic. It's going to be a grab as well. So there is 1 relic left over, which is going to be the back of GUA's base. Unlikely we're going to see that grab too soon. But 4 relics is still good enough here. However, the position of those relics is questionable. Outpost on the flank. No connection in, so no E-repairs. That fortification, a complete waste of stone. Villagers are going to try to keep it alive, but not going to work out. So 5 villagers going down for the Order of the Dragon here. Corvinus, an underwhelming army to try and defend with here. Gilded Crossbowmen do at least have the advantage of being able to outrange their opponents here. The problem is that the Swarm could just dive in. So I think we're seeing a situation now where it has to be Siege Workshop, and indeed it is. A little bit surprised Corv didn't do this sooner. Mangonel makes a lot of sense when you're not coming out your base. Now on this delay, I wouldn't be surprised if GUA reads it because he's revealed the hand. The most logical play now for giving Zai is anticipating siege and just getting a sprint. Instead, it's going to focus on the burn through. Gorf, not wasting the E-repairs here. That's pretty smart because in this situation, if GUA saw that the repairs comes here, he can start trying to talk to Regnants. Behind this, giving Zai. How are we looking on the food sources? He's got a decent amount to work with, but he's out of berries after this, right? So he might be forced to add in farms before he's ready to go imp. But it does look like he's starting to save for that. So once again, it's that cool idea. People have been asking this question recently. Why would you go Culture Wing over Eco Wing in any game? This is why. You thread the needle. You get all your upgrades, your blacksmith techs, your veterancies. You pile pressure on. And then behind it, you go for your greed. Really smart read. Okay, ignore me. GUA's reinvesting. This feels a bit ambitious now. I think you're making your game a bit harder than just taking the free Imperial win. Because you've shown a lot of spearmen and a lot of crossbows. So actually, the Order Dragon kind of have a brain-dead strat here now, right? Lance and Spears are actually a pretty smart read with Mangonels to assist. Moving in for the Regnants now. Ram has also arrived. GUA is going to show his entire hand here. Mango shot's coming in. That Skrill needs to start diving. In fact, another Mango should be coming out. Decent wallop. Good backup just in time there. E-repairs is going to make this difficult to breach though. It's going to be a dive underneath the TC. Guys, this is where things get dicey. Free Landsknecht in the formation. Zornhau has been researched, which pretty much offsets the value of boot camp entirely. And the chase like this, the worst way to do this. Surrounds them, but the Zornhau doing a lot of damage. So Spearman going down. A nice pull away. Gilded Crossbowman still tickling away at this. You've now got the Springald overextending. That's a freebie. Wait, what? GUA. I don't think you can stay here anymore. He's done it again, this guy. I feel like this has been the kind of the crux of GUA. So impressive on the aggro, but sometimes doesn't see the tree through the forest, right? Like the bigger picture here is Abbas's Imperial Age is a win. But he's so focused on winning the game in Castle Age before it reaches that point. I think he became a bit too obsessed over the idea of the 4 relics. This is a difficult game to now dive and close. You lost a decent amount of spears for that dive. A lot of them are heavily injured. There's still Landsknecht left over to counter you, and now you're splitting your formation, which means if the Lanks see this and chase it, all spears are dead. And the reason that worries me is if all spears are dead here, you're running out of deer. You're going to have to start adding in farms. So you're not going to get that efficiency of Eco Wing, Fertile Crescent, and then farms. You're going to have to do it at full price. Mango's pushing out. Another siege weapon failing to go up. Oh my god, GUA came full for the resources. Wait, GUA? Yeah, get out of here. Scram, you bozo. Wrong place, wrong time. Spim now moving in though. Good raid from GUA. A lot of eco kills now. 15, make that 17 Gilded Workers down. Healthy lead. This is the type of position where you'd expect giving anxiety to say Castle into Imperial. But I know the type of player giving anxiety is. And he has this tendency sometimes when he's got the dub to not just take the dub the safe way. He's going to keep piling pressure. And that has me worried now. The castle up, with a relic nearby that could be garrisoned to make this impenetrable. Trebs is going to be way too slow. So realistically, this is the stage now where Eco Wing could not make more sense. Even if it wanted to. The alternative is you could try to snipe this flank TC. I actually like that idea. I think the tough part here is diving into the main. What Giving Anxiety was doing, I think he was worried about Order the Dragon just going Imperial with Palace of Swabia, right? That focus kind of cost him a little bit in the long term here. He did block the timing, but I think in a similar way, you can get just as much value out of sticking out that second TC and pushing Corv into a corner with Palace of Swabia, where he doesn't have much gold to work with. Because now with the keep drop down, the fact that you've spent all that extra food, you now have to go farms. And you have to go for a lot of farms. What worries me now is by the time that GUA is going to be in Imperial, he might just be better served by Trade Wing. Because I could see him easily being at 40 farms before he completes the tech up. Oh my god! Not quick enough to move away. Just way too many Lansknecht in the formation. And just like that. This is why Lansknecht are my favorite unit in the game. 18 worker kills against 0. All it took was 5 seconds to almost do the same amount of eco damage that GOA has in this game. God damn. What a unit. I'm still struggling to see what he's perceiving his win condition as with this attempted pressure. Keeps have gone up. I think he's given a little bit too much breathing room. Like, he went for the all-in, he got pushed back once, and what Corv has done in the last 2 minutes with it has been phenomenal. The raids on the flanks, the secure of the gold in the center and at home, very difficult now for GOA to den. Corvinus has gotten a little bit ambitious with trying to run home with those villages, but the rest are definitely safe. And these dives are going to start tolling a pretty heavy price upon GOA. Still no castle age into Imp coming. Farm count now up to 21. It's good going for the dive. This didn't work last time when you had rams. Now you're basically mass ranged. Lance finish off the gold. Now going to make their way towards the main base. Springolds are there to counter out. Unfortunately, there's Springolds to meet them this time. And the Horsemen are getting in. Just a few stabs is all they need. Nice interception at the last second there by the spears, though. It means that Give You Anxiety will be able to keep the siege at bay. Pregnance is getting low. No E-repairs being used yet by Corvinus. A little bit surprised by this. Finally is going to be triggered. Springolds being brought low. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these need to be rebuilt right now by GOA. The issue he now has is that there is a siege workshop reinforcing at home. So, and every time you have to build these, it's time that you're not spent fighting. And nice snipe there. Catching them while being built means they take a lot more damage. Meanwhile, there is going to be a raid in. The Landsknecht being completely ignored could start to stockpile quite a few kills. Okay, this game is getting officially messy. Mangonel is going to get sniped out. Gildo Crossbowmen are whittling away at the numbers a little bit here, though. And instead, they're going to start diving. Okay, that's sick. Is that Bodkin? No, wait, that's Imperial, right? That's just the raw damage. Because it's 18 versus 10 armor. Smart read there. Gets rid of a little bit extra siege. Corv now officially down in the dirt here. Not much of a military force to work with. And looking towards Landsknecht to save him. Speaking of Landsknecht, that one on the eco did get cleared up, but not before he made it worthwhile. Guys, we are now all of a sudden looking at 45 worker kills in total for Corvinus versus 29 for GOA. What a bonkers game this is turning into. I mean, this is the power of Landsknecht, right? This is why I rate Order the Dragon as the best Lank Civ in the game. Second place, Byzantines. Third place, HRE. Just such a heavy wallop, and shows you the value of having Zornhau in your back corner. Just ensuring that textiles will not save you from 2-strike. See away these rams. Heavy commitment again, but not a fast enough commitment. Like, this is what I'm worried about. Going 2 rams like this is not working. E-repairs will always be off cooldown in time. Now new wave marching out. Lansk, men-at-arms moving in. Front line's going to try to hold. GOA with the micro to try and shut this down. And it looks like it is going to be good enough. Front line is pretty much dead, though. Now it's just 2 rams trying to do this. In the meantime, the siege gets sniped out. Uh-oh. This is problematic. At this stage, actually, you can now just go mangonels to clear this up. I can't believe this. Springald has backed up. Funnily enough, that could have dove in and easily taken out the extra Springles. Regnance looks like it is going to be forfeited over here. So the Rams were good enough in the end. Spearmen ensure it. However, now, with double Mango on the way, with the slow build-up of Springles, I don't know what GOA is meant to do here. Because you can't dent the base any further. Instead, he's going to turn onto the castle. Worst possible choice here. You don't actually have any way of breaking castle right now. Even these rams aren't going to be that clean in the process. In fact, these villagers could easily torch them if they get too close. Nothing that worries me is Mangos are now on the move from the base of Corv. GOA will find some villager kills here. Outpost is going to go down. Keep trying to go for that fire armor. And the backstab's coming in. Corvinus marching up. Mangonel is slow, but he's baiting the crossbows to respond to this. If timed right, Corv could easily start sniping these rams. Flash comes in. Crossbows trying to start a step to stay away from the Landsknecht. Springles are now starting to snipe out the rams, though. Villagers are going to be pulled for the repair and for the torch. Spearmen get baited over, and Corvinus takes the opportunity to shut down the ram push. Are you kidding me right now? Villagers will get back inside, and all of a sudden, this castle is not going to die. I cannot believe that. He threw away the Springles to bait the spears, gets the kill on the ram, gets the spearman out of position, and although the castle's going down, it's costing GA a lot more than intended here. Clutch repairs coming in. Crossbows just trying to catch those villagers when they come out. The problem is there's enough left in the bank on the stone to repair this up long enough. I don't think that GA is going to have much of an army left over here. Final Landsknecht men-at-arms coming in. And I think he's done enough to break this now. It's triple Mangonel behind it. So much thrown away for a single keep kill. And the fire armor truly has come in clutch here. Corvinus has lost an insane amount of villagers to hold this area, but GA has now lost the entire army. Wow. And the good news for Give You Anxiety fans, he has at least got farms fully set up now, right? 45 deep. But no eco wing means you've got no agriculture, no extra play from improved processing down the line. Because at this stage, losing that much means you're not going to rush Imperial, right? You're going to reinvest. Now the Mangos are going to start to shuffle on in. Now the question mark, does Corvinus want to try and commit more to this attack? Or does he just want the age up now? Because I could easily see him just trying to go Imperial. Because this is the interesting thing, isn't it, right? It's like, yes, he lost a lot of villagers, but typical of Atri and Order of the Dragon is, oh no, I've lost so many villagers, I can just go past the Swabia to kind of rejuvenate that, right? To recover and recoup my losses. Does GOA see bottom gold? He does indeed. The problem in this game isn't that he's running out of gold, it's that Corvinus isn't. The way you beat Order of the Dragon, folks, is you starve their gold. Even with 5 relics, this Civ kind of struggles to be relevant in late game compared to the cousin Civ, the HRE. Because Men-at-Arms isn't really the thing you go for. You go for Gilded Hand Cannoniers. You go for a lot of Siege. And that costs a lot of gold. So why GUA focused so much on that central gold deposit is he understood that element. He's seen Order of the Dragon enough to understand that in the late game, without gold, the Civ just doesn't work. And he didn't want Corv to have that, but I think he tunnel visioned this, man. I think that this has been a bit too much focus on pressure, maybe more than was needed in this game. And oh my god, the timing. Are you kidding me, Corv? The freest of massacres here. Wait, that final swing actually cancelled. He should have got one more out there. So it looks like some of the villagers will get away. Some will be poisoned to death. And a secondary dive now coming in. If at first you don't succeed, stick your head in the sand and keep going. Mangonel's moving up. Springle's trying to snipe them out. Good start step coming in. Mangos will go for the shot in on the Springles. Not only them, but the crossbows as well. Villagers need to get to work repairing this. Rams are getting the castle low. GUA with the double down to try and break through. Mass Spearman pushing on in, and I think this time, surely, he should be able to get rid of that keep. Corvinus, heavy miss macro here. 2.5k gold in the bank, 1.2k wood. I don't know if you're setting up trade or if you just haven't been paying attention, but something has gone desperately wrong here. It looks like food is a big issue. Farm transition aren't exactly looking the cleanest for Corv. Mango's just trying to get out and do as much damage on the retreat, but it looks like they are going to be overran, so Siege is going to fall here. Love the fact that we were seeing the Inspired Warrior buff, by the way. Remember, that does actually work on Siege. Landsknecht are going to come in to recover this, and this Spearman! Oh my god! That was one Landsk. One Landsk's done all that. Insane unit. Quite possibly the best unit in the Order of the Dragon arsenal. Time and time again, is pull back any advantage that Jiue's built up. His military lead went from 80, 90 versus like, what, 40, down to 40 against 34. His eco situation is drawn to more or less even, and that, by the way, means he's behind. Because remember, all the dragon villages are better than Abbasid ones. And we're here again. It's time for the burn through once more. Only this time, Jiue looks about half the strength he was when he took down this Regnitz previously. Castle. Oh, Jiue, a little bit of a misstep there, an expensive one. Several crossbows going down. Why is Corvinus not adding in archers? Because you're against mass spears. It's actually better to just do Landsknecht. Landsknecht is much better here. I actually agree with the choice to do this. And the cool thing is, like, you can just spam spear Landsknecht instead. The reason why you don't want to do Landsknecht and archers is if you do Landsknecht and archers, Jiue, his micro is automatic there. When he A-clicks, all of his crossbows are going to attack the Landsknecht. Whereas when you do spears plus Landsknecht, your opponent has this issue where when you run in towards him, he has to select and target each one of those Landsknechts down. Add in the fact that this also keeps Jiue away from cavalry, it's really smart, because if Jiue goes towards horsemen, he'll start flank raiding, and Corvinus hasn't built any walls. Camel Arch is now coming out. What? Well, that's a quick way to lose the game. Oh my god. And Siege just immediately gets blitzed down. Go to Landsknecht. Ready to move on and munch down that front line. I think Jiue is starting to lose control of this game. He's still flank raiding. Are you freaking kidding me? Now dragging them across the gold, the worst possible thing you could be doing. Front line is falling. Give you anxiety. The problem I'm seeing in this game is his solution of spears just doesn't work. And the idea of going camel archers is great if you have Imperial Age techs behind you, such as agriculture and of course, the improved processing. He doesn't have that, though. Oh, man, this is getting brutal. Lance moving in to clean up the last of the back line. And all of a sudden, now we're in a situation where I could easily see Corvinus just going Imperial Age. Look at his economy. He gathers almost what he needs per minute to go into Imp. Army has been mopped up. You know, why go Imperial Age when you see the enemy's economy on the front line? I mean, that is begging. That is pleading for more Landsknecht, right? Right? Oh, yes. So Jiue is about to lose the eco lead. He's not even backing away here. Wow, slow reactions. It's going to cost him dearly. Second wave forced to commit earlier than it's ready. And the problem I'm now seeing for Jiue is like this Camel Archer idea seems cool in theory, but it takes so long to get max value out of it, right? And on top of that, the Horseman reaction is perfect. You'd think, oh, Horseman and Spears is a bad idea. Not really, because the Landsknecht, Gilded Landsknechts in particular, kill the Spearmen so quickly that you can just essentially A-click the fights and your Horseman won't die. That's crazy. A normal villager takes 24 seconds to come out of a TC. A Gilded Villager takes 24 seconds to come out of TC. Normal villager is 20. And then Palace of Swabia for H3 is 6 seconds. For Order of the Dragon, it's 8 seconds, if I remember correctly. I can't believe this, man. These flank Landsknecht have kept him in the game. I feel really bad for Jiue, because I actually feel like he had this. He had the right read, if it wasn't for those raids. Those little pocket raids with the Landsknecht are the reason why he can't win this game right now. Great raid with the Camel Archers, at least. Finally something that can mirror what the Lanks have been doing. In fact, in some ways do it better. The Horseman damage. I mean, they get a charge in. You feel it in the morning. So Camel Archer raids are going to start getting blocked out by the Horsemen. Notice that for now they're doing a good job. That's because there's a trickling of Horsemen. Horsemen kind of suck in small numbers, obviously, and as the Order of the Dragon, you don't scale them quickly. The interesting part for me is the fact that we are looking at Imperial now. He's prepping Horsemen, but he's not over-investing. He's slowed down the Landsknecht, even though he can keep... Okay, ignore me. Are we ever going to see Imperial in this game? I'm starting to wonder. I'm not sure about the men-at-arms choice, by the way. Like, it's a little bit perplexing to me. It's chunkier than Landsknecht, sure. And obviously, Camel Archers get bonus damage against spears, so you don't want that. But the problem I'm having here is, like, these units are getting kited perfectly. Landsknecht are at least a little bit quicker. Horseman makes a lot of sense. I feel like Horseman Lansk is just your win condition. Instead, you're now giving a window for GUA. 40 spears and pushing. Gold has been secured on the right side. So maybe that was the issue, just didn't have enough gold. Then again, like, if it didn't have gold, you wouldn't be building men-at-arms either. And oh my god, what? You've got to be kidding me. That Sikh shelter just cost him half of his farm workers. What? This game is incredible. Eco Wing now on the way from GUA, so the tech up has been triggered. Corvinus, how do you now get back in this? Camel Archers still just raiding villages. Do you think GUA is sitting here and going like, man, this is so easy. Why didn't I do this sooner? Spinman going to be pulled off to deal with the Horsemen. Camel Archers can now try to contest the front line. Count is a little bit low, though. So it looks like a fight that actually should be turned. Corvinus will be able to hold on to his base. He's got some Landsknecht in the mix as well. However, the difference here is that one player is going Imperial, the other most definitely is not. Now, that being said, Abbasids did just spend a lot of resources on this fight. Those Camel Archers are not cheap to replace. But I think the logic for GUA is maybe he doesn't need camels now, right? With Eco Wing coming in, with the idea of just going into elite army tactics, Spearman might be back on the table for him. And agreed. Like, it wasn't ideal from GUA. I think what he was trying to do, he was so focused on going for the villager kills, he wasn't focusing as much on the fight. The Camel Archers most definitely should have been attacking the front line quicker because they have good damage, base damage against men-at-arms. They counter the Spearmen. The problem there is, like, I think you're struggling either way, right? Because if GUA pulls the Spearmen away to deal with the Horsemen, then all of a sudden the enemy's infantry leaks through into the Camel Archers. You're kind of screwed the moment you overextended the base. I think the mistake there for GUA wasn't that fight, it came earlier. It came with the fact that he sent the Spearmen in when he should have used the Camel Archers. And now the return fire is coming. Tech up complete. Corvinus looking to push in, though. Not many Landsknecht left in this mixer, which means that GUA should be able to clear it up. Gold is a problem now, actually, for the Abbasids. He's trying to rescale into crossbows. He needs to get into his elite techs. He's only got 1.4k gold back here. And then what? 1.2k gold that is about to be taken away from him. And oh my god, I don't think GUA realizes the gold is already locked. Are you freaking kidding me right now? If you're wondering why does Corvinus want this area? Trade post. He understands with the gold being locked in the way he's done it, the only option now for GUA is trade. And he's taking it away from him. And it's Guilded Villagers building this. There's no way you're stopping it. Castle is most definitely going up. And GUA doesn't even try to contest it. Gold in the center has been exhausted down to 52. I think Corvinus has just got this now. The gold is the difference. Lance now moving in. Villagers are funnily enough going to run away. So many stages in this game, like I've looked at it and been like, if GUA just took the greed choice, how much better would it look? I respect him for not doing it as someone who hates just typically boomy games, but all I can think back to is that moment where GUA had this optimal timing to go castle into Imperial Age and he just didn't take it. So paranoid of what Corvinus would do in reaction, he just kept gunning in this castle age, and I think as it's gone on, it's cost him more and more. And at this stage, even though Imperial's in there, it feels like it's too late. And that's the other interesting thought, actually. If you want to play a long castle age, you see Landsknecht like this, you see Spearman. Archers was being begged for here, right? Composite bows, mass archers, castle age, I think you win that. It's almost like GUA was too worried about the idea of men-at-arms in Castle from Order of the Dragon that he shied away from, I think, what is one of the most powerful units in the Abbasid arsenal. Now we have an ugly situation. You're building squishy units against 18 Landsknecht. Oh my god! I think Corvinus is going to win this game in Castle. The Spearmen arrive, but they immediately get flopped down. Elite Army Tactics isn't there. It wouldn't even matter at this stage. There's just too many Cleaver boys. GUA is going to lose the army. And the little gold he has access to with it. Has to stand his ground. Castle now being rushed up. If you just peel 2 lands, just 2! Oh no! Oh yes! And the villagers on the north side are not going to be safe either. Ram's going to take out the keep. The Cleaver boys are on their way up north as well. I think this game is over. GUA, there's just nothing you can do right anymore. What a read by Corvinus. He who jumps first, jumps last. Oh my god, Corvinus just understood perfectly that that plunge being taken by GUA was the opening he needed. Gold was the difference. And he's making the Dragons look gold right now. First wave is going to get cleared up, sure, but it's the impact on the map now. No gold, limited wood. There's just not really any lifeline anymore for Give You Anxiety in this. Wow. I know people have polarizing experiences about All the Dragon, but I'm just going to say it. I wish more civs had units this powerful. The idea of just like this clear mop-up, like units being doubly effective. I love they have these units that can swing a fight so quickly. It's incredible. And, well, talk about an incredible move. When you're 111 eco, you don't need a Pulse Swabber at all. It's time for the L's back. Slap bang in the center of the map. Raid's hitting the backside now. Looks like the Horseman will at least be cleared up there, but I'm worried about the next wave. I mean, this is the thing. You held off the back of you having Imperial Age Spearmen and Crossbows. That's the only reason you're still alive. Well, guess what? Corvinus is going to have his Imperial versions as well. Landsknecht, Horseman, Spearmen, all on the table for him. What a crazy game. And the amount of food behind this, 84 food workers. Sorry, 73 with 84 farms. Insane. Secondary base being built with the Raxes now. Every upgrade on the table. Interesting, he's switching into Men-at-Arms. A little bit intriguing considering you're up against Camel Archer crossbows. But I guess you have the Horseman for that, right? This is just something to break face on the front line. You have to remember those Men-at-Arms attack insanely fast. So they're very efficient in terms of the space they take up in a melee ball. This game has literally been decided by Landsk. He's doing it again. Unfortunately, he's a little bit late here. He gave GUA way too much respect here. He's like, oh, he's definitely played it a little bit slower and chunking through his safe wood, right? Nope. GUA's like, yes, if I can just get Landsknecht, I can win this game. Oh. I'm pushing them through the Palisade wall is the perfect way to clean them up. So, more eco going down. Gold is at least going to be secure on the right side, but it's 650 gold. Not really going to break the bank for that. And now you've still got these Landsknecht just patrolling around the back of your base. I think you're going to lose a lot of your food eco in the coming minutes. Yeah, the reaction is just a little bit too slow. The only good news is this is like the worst thing Landsk can raid. Landsk are terrible at raiding farms. They're great at raiding other resources because they clump up, right? Usually if you're going for farms, you just want the Horseman instead. Does GUA have a way back? If he can get rid of this castle and set up trade, maybe. That's a big ask. A really, really big ask in this game. He needs keeps on the flanks as well, or stone walls. One of the two. Castle. It does have the L's back, right? Yeah, that's a sick read. I love that Corv done that. It's just in range. This castle is taking a millennia to kill. A few horsemen are just going to leak around. If they can just touch it, they can get the kill. But GUA, good micro inwards. Will at least keep his siege alive for a moment. But I think it's the end of the road for him. At this point, it's just a game where you can only build food or wood-based units, and the problem is you don't have wood. He's struggling to get on flanks and get any access here. He's finally actually set up a lumber camp on the east side, but now with that gap in production being queued, I think you're just going to lose this fight and then be pushed back into the corner where you only have food. What a crazy game. I can't believe the back and forth that this entailed. I love the fact that GUA's like playstyles lead to these intriguing games. And it's well played by Corvinus. The idea of just playing this as more of a macro game, focusing the gold, is what allowed him to win this. If he didn't sneak for that central gold, if he didn't keep playing flank gold, he wouldn't have enough for Mass Landsknecht. And Mass Landsknecht was his MVP. It won him the main fights against Spears. It won him the game by flank raiding the economy. It got him to where he is now. Sadly, they will not be making an appearance in the final photo. But they've done their work, and they've done it well. Horsemen now licking over into the villages. I mean, it kind of shows you what Gio's intent is here, right? He needs keep drops, he needs walls. The problem is, those aren't that impactful when you're Imperial anyway, when there's bombards on the table. Looking back in hindsight, I do pin this back on the idea of the Imperial Age I did just being ignored for GOA. What happened is he got a little bit too worried. He got scrambled by this idea of Palace of Swabia. I think he was in a very good position to take Imperial Age and still stop a tech up from his opponent. They tried for the all-in that we know GOA loves to do. And I think we had Fade say this the other day. You know, GOA has this kind of interesting predicament on IDing when the game turns into a macro game. This game turned into a macro game about 20 minutes ago. And I think he neglected to respect that detail. Landsknecht are being returned to, folks. I can't believe all the things he's buying. The amount of gold he's got on this map is incredible. Still 2.5k gold to work with here as well. Interesting choice to try and start burning it down when it's that close to completion. GOA, if you're wondering why would he do this keep, he's not getting the gold, it's about the wood. He needs wood this badly. He needs some layer of protection here because his army simply is not cutting it. Love the fact that we're actually seeing the Inspired Warriors buff all the way through this, by the way. Look at the damage difference, man. These men-at-arms hit for 33 damage. I always say that of the two civs, HRE, the Inspired buff isn't that important, but when you're playing Order of the Dragon, it's day and night difference. Worked for the Landsknecht, works for the men-at-arms, will definitely work for the hand cannoneers. Class coming in, men-at-arms. Should be able to just make quick work of this. And the problem in this game is, you know, even if his army gets wiped, he's sitting on a 2k gold reserve. That's enough to reboom this men-at-arms count fully. For GUA, the moment he starts losing crossbows, they're irreplaceable. His only option is to go camel archers, but those gaps in wood gatherings has hurt him dearly. 13 queued up. A long way to get him here. The only upside right now is at least his economy isn't being raided by small groups again. Oh, wait. Did someone say economy? Oh, my God. Okay, men-at-arms are now dead, but 11 new Landsknecht have entered the battlefield. Oh, my God. Just have mercy on him, please. This is the worst feeling in these type of games. Give you anxiety is almost an hour into a game. He's like, wow, I've done it. I'm starting to stabilize, Papa. You proud of me? Dad's like, no. Why? Why won't you ever give me the respect? Because I know what he's doing next, son. It's back to premium. I'm impressed he hasn't ran out of gold yet. Oh, that would explain it. Oh my God. How did I not notice this sooner? He's got 30 traders. No wonder he's not running out of gold. Jesus. I can't believe I didn't see that a little bit earlier. We've been so distracted by this right side because I've been waiting this entire time for the Abbasids to go for trade. It never happened. It never will. And I think he knows it now. He knows the trade's been going on when he sees this many Landsknecht. The sad reality is if GUA had just taken a handful of camel archers around the back, he could have shut it off. There's no protection for it. I mean, look at this game. Look at the map. Do you notice something different about Corvinus' layout? He's allergic to walls this entire game. The damage on Landsknecht is very high. They hit for 39 damage with the Inspired Warrior buff. It's baffling just how good it is. They use like somewhere between 32 and 35. Oh, you must have heard me say that. GG gets called. I don't think I've ever seen a game where Gilded Landsknecht have been such high value.